My story is that I was actually looking for a good therapist slash life coach. And I met up with, um, Lila, and had told me a little bit about the work because she had brought me to some of Herb's workshops and introduced me to some of this work. And it was why am I blanking out on Herb's wife?
Jackie.
Thank God. I'm losing my nouns. All right. So I went to Jackie and asked her for a good recommendation if she knew any good therapists slash life coaches. I knew she did a lot of that work. And she suggested go see Herb, go talk to Herb. And so Herb invited me to explore Healing Den. And I was cautious because I knew I couldn't commit to doing a lot of things, having lots of meetings, having regular commitment to being online and things like that because my life was fairly busy and chaotic. Um, so wanted to put my toe in the water and I signed up for uh, the Healing Den first session in person. And once I started to realize that I could do my own work, I didn't need a therapist, that I was getting such helpful information from Herb and from the community, um, I could do my own work and become more self-aware and witness myself. So I stopped looking for a coach or a therapist and jumped right into Healing Den. And so that's how I discovered it. And we'll talk later about what happened after that. So I'm complete. Who wants to go?
Sue, why don't you go next?
Okay. Um, I was interested in Healing Den. I've been involved in the healing arts my whole life, and I was doing table work, energy work, and I went into it thinking it was another technique. Um, I had no idea about discovering myself. And everything else that followed. So I thought it would be this magical, and it is, but in a different way, that I would just have all these very cool healing techniques. So I was very surprised as I got into it, what it was really about. And um, that'll probably be the next question. And what Healing Den has done for me. Very life changing. And I'll hold off on this part of it.
Okay. All right. For me, um, I had also started, I was involved in some healing arts, I guess Reiki. I had done my Reiki master training and was looking to get other certifications. I was thinking about sound therapy and, chakra balancing. And, but with each thing that I learned, I just kept feeling like something was missing. Something really big felt like it was missing. And I started asking around. I had a sense that I needed a teacher. Um, and I think in my mind, I specifically was thinking I was looking for a shaman, which was funny because at the time I was very involved with my church. I was a lector and um, I had been asked to be part of the RCIA program at our church, and all of that. And so, but I very specifically thought that I wanted to meet a shaman who could help me to sort of figure out what it was that was missing and what I was looking for. I started asking around and having conversations, and with each friend of a friend who I conversed with, they would lead me to someone else until finally someone said to me, "Well, why don't you look up Herb Stevenson? He's local." So I went to Herb's website and was getting his signed up for his newsletters, and I was getting those for I want to say about a year and a half. And I would see this about Healing Den. And I think I remember when I really paid attention, it was the Healing Den that was in the spring, and it said the prerequisite had to be that you had to have attended in the fall. And so that summer, in the newsletter, it said there's going to be an open Zoom call for those who are interested, just a informative Zoom call. And I joined, and the way that everybody spoke, their testimonials about Herb and about Healing Den and their experiences just it was just such a great sales pitch, I guess, because I was by the end of the Zoom call, I just thought this is what I need to do. And I remember when I told my husband about it and I said, I want to go on this retreat. It's a week-long retreat. And he said, "What is it?" And I said, "I don't really know." And I said, "I just really feel like I want to be there." Um, so I think all of that in and of itself, there was a synchronicity to it that was so powerful. And the knowing I had about it was so clear that when I got there that week, I realized this is huge, and this was what I was looking for. This is the kind of the missing piece of what I needed in my life that has really allowed me to, I think, Paula, you said something like this, to realize we don't need all of that external stuff to start understanding how it is to be present in our own lives, um, and to have all this wonderful change and growth and everything to happen. So that's how I came to Healing Den. Um, I think our next question should be, what was our impression there, and how has it changed us? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So Paula, if you want to
We're
start.
doing rounds? Grand.
Yeah, it's your turn
And
again.
and part of my story, now that I'm listening to your stories and I'm going, oh yeah, I forgot, yes, and this. Part of my story was, yes, I was looking for a therapist and or a life coach and trying to address how much stress I had in my life. And the world seemed crazy, and I just needed help sorting through this world. And when I was listening to your story, both of you have training and are in healing arts type work. And I am not. I'm in education. And so I wasn't sure that I'd belong or fit in or connect because I didn't have any of that expertise. I had done lots of study as an educator on integration and movement and the nervous system and pathways to concentration. Lots of kind of touching on the edges of healing. But as an educator, I wasn't sure that I would connect. And then at that first Healing Den in-person experience at Camp Asbury, um, I realized how much, as I was discovering how to be present and present with myself and more self-aware of what is happening when I'm not present, what is happening when I allow myself to be stressed. And I realized that I could share this in my world as an educator. And I just did it. We just had an opening staff meeting, and just by invitation only, I invite anyone who's interested. And we did a little breath work and grounding. And the whole community the feedback was great. They said, I just feel safe. I feel connected to our community. I'm ready for a school year. So I forgot to add that part to my story of like how I got involved.
Hmm.
And what it is now, there's so much I could say, but we only have a little time together, so I'll just pick some first highlight thoughts and we can do a couple of rounds with, right? But I think the practice of learning to meditate um, has been a life changer for me. And I'm up in my frontal cortex a lot. I read a lot. I read about spirituality. I've explored different aspects of spirituality and I read about psychology. But putting all of that away and getting out of my head and getting out of allowing just to be all thoughts and to really learn how to just be in my body and to still the mind and to notice the energy in my own body. And then I started to feel it outside of myself. And I had never done that work before. Um, I had never been sensitized to feeling energy. And suddenly I was able to feel it. I could feel it in with other people. I could feel it in a group. And when we meditated as a collective, I could feel my heart filling, really, and so much safety and so I guess kind of the word is coming up for me is kind of like a stability um, that I could be more responsive instead of reactive. And the more I disciplined myself, I'm not always good at doing it every day, but I strive to do even just 7 minutes of meditation every day. I start to notice that I love it. And so it's out of love. I do it again the next day. And then I love, oh, this helps me move through life less stressed and less reactive and just living more in a heart space and being gentle on myself and when I mess up or when I go off in my head and learning to witness that and just not be derailed by it for so long, come right back. And how I perceive the world is different. I perceive things. Um, I guess I see more the beauty in things. I can sit under a tree. I can go for a hike and feel the energy of the world around me. And then maybe the last piece I'd say about some of the life-changing experiences I've had, the more I work in the Healing Den practices of grounding, meditating, and self-awareness, I'm the aspect of spirituality that I was seeking but it was all head work. I have a different sense of spirituality and great spirit or God or whatever. Different people will have different terms. When I feel on an energetic level connected, this is going to sound woo-woo, but connected to a bigger field. Um, and the lightness and the joy and the resonance I feel is a spirituality to me. It is a connection to spirit, but also a connection to the ground and the earth for me. And it's a lovely place to sit or stand or be in. I'm complete. Sue?
Oh, wow. So I was thinking, because I started with the Healing Den in 2017. So after this fall, it'll be 5.5 rounds that I've completed. So I've gotten to see the growth. And from the beginning to what it's turned into now for me is how important presence is and the felt sense of what that means. And it's infinite. The amount of presence that you can attain just goes on and on. The group energy helps me get there. And one of the biggest things for me is, we all have some sort of trauma, and I had some big events in my life, like most people, and how you learn to live in the present moment, that the past doesn't define who you are or what people say you are, and that to yearn for the future or something better takes you out of that presence. And through the experience of surrendering or letting go of these energies that are held within your body, and the beauty of the group helping you allow to let go of things is remarkable. And I can, through exercises that I've done with the group, you can actually track where you've been and where you are now. And even the now is constantly changing. And I like going to each one of the dens because they're always different. And the experience is always different. That they're never the same, at least not for me. And I recommend it for anybody because it's life. It helps. It helped me what's understand myself. It's like I am an onion just unfolding with many layers, and then I get to know myself more and more as I take each step in the present moment. It's pretty amazing, and I always wonder, wow, what would I have been like with if I didn't do it, if I didn't have the awareness of myself and presence. So that's all I got to say about that.
Mm-mm.
Thanks. So,
Mhm.
when you said that you thought you were going to learn all these cool healing modalities, that resonated for me because, like I said before, I didn't know what to expect going in. Herb said something about crystals, so I just really had no idea what it was going to be. But I've since come to understand that it's a way of living. It's really a prescription for living. And the most powerful thing I think in that first week that I learned was an understanding of internal authority, and how that teaching just blew my mind. And I started to look. Am I getting feedback? Because I'm hearing
A little bit.
Let me try my AirPods. Okay, let's see if that's better. So I started to look at myself, and I started to question all the stories that I ever had about who I was and what I believed and my past and my future and everything. And that in and of itself, coupled with presence, was so life-changing for me. I saw things about myself that I never knew before, patterns that I just had never recognized. And all of the teaching about presence allowed me to let some of that fall away, to really let my true self emerge. And so, yeah, there was a lot of work that I did over the last few years since my first healing den. And what, again, it teaches a way to just be in life, so that now when I have a difficult day or if something comes up, I know how I'm going to manage it. And I know when I'm not being present, and I can sort of recognize that and think, oh, if I would have been a little more present in that situation, it could have gone differently. Um, so so that's just so helpful for, you're there for a week and you're immersed in all this beautiful energy and working together in this community, and everything that's happening there, and then you come home and you're back to your life again, but how can you be different in your life? And I think that's where a lot of the power of it is as well, in the workplace and with your family, um, really being different. Um, and all that was talked about, about meditation, about feeling the energy, the felt sense, feeling things in my body, feeling energy in my body that, even having done Reiki, was completely new to me, and was also very, surprising, but surprising in a good way. And seeing how we were able to take some of those traumas, large or small, and stories, and allow those to release from the use of energy, from the use of that group energy. Um, and just what a wonderful healing tool that is, I think, for each of us individually, and seeing it work on others. And then again, taking it home with you and seeing how that ripple effect can continue, like in your family and your workplace and your community. So I think, boy, there's probably so much more to say, but I think that's, probably what's top of mind in the moment for me. And then I think the next question would be, when we're not in that week long healing den retreat, um, how are we supported by the community, and how do we feel like we kind of continue this work, and continue to be present as part of a larger community outside of that? Does that make sense?
Sure. Do you want to keep going?
I guess so.
Okay.
Okay. Um, what's nice is that, locally we have practice sessions. They've been trying to set them up about once a month. I try to get to as many as I possibly can, because when we get together and we do the practice and we do the energy work together, every time something deep happens, something unfolds, there's another insight, and it's just powerful every single time when you get, um, one or two or more gathered together being present. It really is magical. And what I think means the most to me about being a part of the Healing Den community, and this dawned on me very, very early on, uh, probably in the first week that I went on retreat, was how I felt so accepted, and I was so seen by everyone in the community, and seen in a way, um, that is so positive, not scary, really seen in all of the good, bad, and the ugly, and just really accepted, and feeling like a part of the community and being supported, has just been so beautiful for me in so many ways. I know that there's always somebody who I can talk to, or who's going to understand. There is, I think, a particular understanding that we have of each other and what we are all going through. It seems like we hear each other on a cognitive level, but I think we're also feeling each other on an energetic level. And so there is a resonance that happens, that really feels like we're more connected. Um, Knowing that we have the regular, gatherings to practice, or Herb's teachings that I watch online, or whatever he sends out, or the conversations that we have. It's like, minor course corrections, I think, every single time, a remembrance of something that, oh, yeah, that's something that's good for me to work on or to remember. So it feels like it's been integrated into my life as something that is always there to support me and guide me. And I could truly say that I'm in the best place in my life than I've ever been. I would say the most at peace, the most able to roll with the punches in my life, um, to be present for my family, and being true to myself. So, yeah.
True to self is a really key phrase for me. But Sue, I think if we want to go in reverse order, just mix it up a little.
Oh,
Why don't you go
okay.
next?
Um, I think for me, the practices definitely are very beneficial, and you stay in community, which is important. And it's just a reminder to be present, but taking it home. I think Julie mentioned family. I could be more present for my family and for myself. And really, what I've learned is to be able to witness myself and and just focusing my attention or my awareness to what I'm doing. I'm able to witness how I respond to everything. And so the concepts that um, are the whole part of the den is taking it back with you in your life and trying to apply that with everything. If I feel an emotion arise in me, where is that coming from? What is the trigger? And learning about that shadow part of myself and letting that rise to the surface and letting that go. That has been amazing work for myself, just tracking myself and how I am with other people, and just noticing everything around me and being able to stop myself if I notice emotions coming out, stopping, pausing, and reflecting, and then answering and going in within my heart space. So I'm able to respond as my true, authentic self and not my egoic self of how I'm supposed to be in the world. And it's not easy at all. I find it very challenging, but as it continues to unfold, I find that I get better and better at it as I go along. And that to me has been life changing. Yeah.
Life changing for sure for me too. And I'm thinking about relationships and connections and how that has evolved for me through Healing Den. You know, Herb shares nuggets of uh, windows, perhaps, to myself to sort of understand when I'm in a pattern. Or you mentioned, Julie, you know, the stories that we write about ourselves or how we grew up or what we start to believe about ourselves based on how other people perceive us or what their story is. And when Herb shares an awareness of some of those pieces that prevent me from knowing my true self, I thought I knew myself, but started to really, like you said, Sue, peeling the onion. And when I'm in community with HD, with Healing Den people, and we're so diverse, we come from all walks of life, and we're from different, you know, lines of work and different life stories, different things. And as we sit in circle and people feel safe, and that really struck me is how quickly you can feel safe. And you said be seen, but it's really safe to be honest. And that we don't need to bring up all the details of some pain or some stress, but rather just notice what's happening in us when we're in the middle of it or we're remembering it, whatever that is, or trying to recover from something. I was on the freeway in Ann Arbor the other day, and somebody was very stressed and dysregulated, and they were honking their horn, their window was open, they were yelling, and I trigger, right? And so very quickly, I'm getting into my judgy voice and defensive voice and everything else. And but I could recognize I was there really quickly and come out of it very quickly and let it go. And then just with compassion, assume positive intent for that person, but that it's not me and I don't need to let that energy into my day. Um, and I find that I am enjoying life more because I can let things go. I can be self-aware of how I'm responding. You said pause and make a choice and ask myself, is this really true? Is this really me? No, let me come back to me for a minute and let the other stuff go. I don't need to unpack all the details or relive things. And when I'm listening in community to other people sharing their discoveries or their reflections, I go, oh, that too, that too. So there's almost like this group experience that I'm going, oh yeah, that was exactly something that I hadn't articulated before, but now that they're saying that thing, I can really connect to that or relate to that. So being in a safe group to grow together and grow ourselves, but feels great. And sitting around the fire, literally in the evenings or doing some artwork or, threading beads. And I'm going, oh, I'm not able to do those things. But actually, it helps me integrate because the experiences are quite big. The awakenings for me are very big. And it takes time to integrate those and allow that growth to blossom, I guess. But I keep coming back. And all the things I kept telling her about, I'm not going to regular meetings, I can't, won't have time. And I'm doing it because I want more. It's, again, out of love, not out of duty or obligation. And if I miss some, that's great. But I go, oh, I don't want to miss any because that feeling and that how quickly we connect as community,
Yeah.
even if it's just two people, um, we quickly connect back into that very safe space. And there's a feeling of filling that happens when you're with others that I literally fill with a kind of a light. And that's just very lovely. And it doesn't need lots of talking. Sometimes it's just silence. And that just feels so good to me. So without community, it would be a different experience. It would just be me and Herb or one teacher, but doing it as a group and connecting and the relationships and that we have has been lovely. So I'm looking at the time and checking in with you all. Do you have any other thoughts that you're just coming up with anything before we check out? How you doing?
Oh,
Ooh,
you're on mute. Sure.
still on mute.
Ah,
There.
I just wanted to add before we close about Herb himself and what a great role model he is, and how he gives his time freely, even outside of the classes, with phone calls or Zoom calls, or if you're local, just even meeting him for a cup of coffee. He's I don't know how he finds the time, but he does, and he's just been great. Um, that's it.
Mm.
Actually, there's two things that I would like to say before we close. The first is, Paula, what you just ended with reminds me of how Herb says presence is contagious. And I think that that's when we talk about community and how we are more used to being present with each other. I think that's what happens whenever we are around each other. I think it's almost like a muscle memory that happens. That we are more present in each other's presence.
Mhm.
The other thing that I want to say, I guess, would be to anybody who's thinking about trying Healing Den. I follow a lot of people on social media. I follow people on YouTube. I read a lot of books. Like, I am very, I would say, a big consumer of spiritual teaching. And with all of that, Herb's influence and being a part of Healing Den is the biggest, most impactful thing that has happened in my spiritual life. That if I hadn't met Herb, if I had never done Healing Den, I could still be meditating every day, following these people on Instagram, listening to them on YouTube, going on, workshops and all of that. And I don't think that I would find anything that would impact me so deeply and really be so helpful for me. So I know for everybody it's different, but I think what Herb is teaching is just powerful, powerful teaching. And so my advice would be to try it out because I don't see how you would regret it.
Mm. This has been a lovely conversation. And I'm so happy you said something about Herb because could I add 1 minute of reflection on that? Herb models and lives presence. And when he speaks about eye contact and, not looking up or looking forward or looking out or looking away and being avoidant, all those things patterns I didn't realize I did. He models it. He's so present, and his presence allows him to be a really good listener. And he is so grounded that I feel like I can ground much more quickly in his energy, in his field. He's so wise. He has studied or learned so much in his own journey. And I treasure that. And I agree. I just finished Eckhart Tolle's book, and I realized this is what I practice in Healing Den all the time. And it's nice to hear it expressed in different ways from different teachers and different speakers. But experiencing it, living it, and seeing it model around me in just day-to-day life has been a gift. Okay. Has anyone got anything else that's on their mind that what they want to bubble? Or should we just check out?
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. Thanks, Julie.